Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning, everybody. Well, it's another week. It's a Monday, and we have a Federal Reserve meeting this week. Well, hold on. I'm not getting... I forgot to turn on all of my audio stuff here. Good morning, Octavius. Good volume. Put it down just a tad. All right. The charts. Here's our volume profile. Hey, you know what? I think I fixed that problem. Okay, so we had a pretty decent downtrend on Friday. Not necessarily because of any really huge news, but and it wasn't like it moved that big during our session, but it was to the downside. Now we are retracing some of that, so it looks like we're about to where we were when we started on Friday. Well, not when we started, but we're close to that spot. We're retracing that. S&P 500 also seen a little bit of a dip on Friday, and that is retracing pretty hard. Oil actually maybe breaking out a little bit. I mean, there's still this 71.50 that they got to get past, but that latest jump is a pretty good looking. Gold and silver still kind of reeling. The recent rise just completely retracing. Kappa. Oh, then it really looks terrible in silver, doesn't it? Copper is back to its older range, but trying to jump back up. And the Japanese yen continues a pretty slow and steady downtrend. That downtrend is a little bit too clean for my likes. And then we got Bitcoin jumping up again over 105,000 over the weekend. And, this is not really showing much signs of slowing down. Oh, I wish it could go further back because, before October, it really was like, what is this thing doing? Like, nothing's happening. But ever since Donald Trump got elected, it's just been pretty slow and steady upturn. And I'm not seeing mania yet either. Like there's definitely crazy stuff going on in cryptocurrencies, but it's nowhere near the mania phases of cryptocurrency. What do we call these? Cycles last. Yes. Of yesteryear. Okay, so I got a couple things going on here. I have my bug. Oh, it disappeared. I must have accidentally cleaned it. I'm getting that error over here. Which one? Oh, maybe I'm not getting it today. That's weird. Okay, well, I think I want to add a new chart though. I want it to be ES 1 minute optimize candlestick. Okay. Strategies. Degenerate gambler. One enabled. Okay. Okay. So we got that, and okay. We're all good there. Oh, need to come and make sure that our new squawk is turned on. Israeli military sirens sounded in a number of areas in central Israel following launch from Yemen. And it looks like that Michael Saylor did buy some more Bitcoin. Might be why they are up. Such strong Delta selling on Friday. Maybe we cover half today. Are you suggesting that they continue selling again today? And I think that could be a real possibility. I'm always in the treasuries. I'm always a little bit skeptical of the first move. Like if it's been moving overnight, and then I don't know. Usually they continue that, but when I don't have that kind of clear direction from the overnight, I'm always really skeptical of the first move. I always feel like that the first move is just there to try and get everybody to go off sides, So far, the first move has been up. So I built this little stand to hold my my red clipboard that I have a bunch of sticky notes put on, and I made it out of cardboard. And I'm thinking right now that it worked pretty good, but that I need to make it out of cooler materials or make something better. Oh, no, Octavius is suggesting something else, that we go up to squeeze the weak sellers from Friday. Maybe. Well, so let's try and sort this out. So first thing that I want to note, well, hold on. Oh, I had restarted my machine. That's why I'm like, where's all my stuff? Terminal. Okay, so first thing that I see is sentiment hawkish. So there's a number of analysis and so forth of people concerned about further inflation. I think part of this is just, Trump won the presidency, so we're concerned about inflation. Because this is a stronger dollar and it could increase the costs of goods because of trade wars, right? I find it a little curious that the Federal Reserve was all like, "Oh, everything's perfectly fine. We can reduce interest rates," up until the point at which it was clear that Donald Trump was going to win, and then all of a sudden their attitude changed. Find that a little odd, but whatever. There is maybe some reason to be concerned. And kind of what I see is, well, I don't think that we're going to have hyperinflation. A lot of people are saying, hey, in the 70s, we had a rise of inflation and we got it under control. And then we had a second run and it absolutely went crazy. And that did happen. But you have to put it in view of the context at the time. One of the big things was that LBG basically bullied the Federal Reserve into not raising interest rates so that they could fund the Vietnam War. So that bout of inflation was kind of like a choice by that administration. A really poor choice, but it was a choice by them. So I don't think that we'll see some super cycle other bout of inflation. But what I think that we will see is the cyclical components of inflation see a short-term rise. So you kind of look at it. There are certain in factors in inflation that they're cyclical. Like they go like, oh, where's my pen? They kind of go like this, right? And then you have other forces that maybe they go like this. And so when you get the real inflation, it kind of goes like this. Okay. So we're like right here is what it looks like. Or rather, we're like right here. Right. So we might see a small rise in inflation, which may prevent the Federal Reserve from reducing interest rates as quickly as they want. Okay? So when I say, like, the sentiment is hawkish, that's what we got. That's what we got going on there. Okay? Then over here, we have, it's Monday. I would say flows quiet to start session. Okay. Let's put that down at the bottom. Like we'll just like add an extra line here. Okay. There's a Fed meeting this week. Last full week of the year. It's another key thing that we gotta keep in mind. And strong downtrend from last week. So I'm thinking here that on a Monday that we should probably see a market maker dominated market unless a large meta order is going to come through here. I haven't seen any signs of a large meta order yet, but we should be on the lookout for it. We did tick up there a little bit, but not really on any meaningful change in cumulative delta, and not anywhere across the board. There is a little bit of a jump here in the Japanese yen, though. Seems to be why we moved up. So I think that, yeah, you know what, though, Octavius? I don't know if I've ever really seen a situation where, like, you know, we had a downtrend on Friday, and then we had uptrend on Monday, and it resulted in some sort of a, like, short covering rally, sort of. I've never really seen that. I don't think that I have any reason to believe that we could get a flow like that. Okay. Now, while I'm saying that, we did get a relatively large iceberg at 03, and we have a relatively large bid at 02.5 chasing it up. And the offer at 04, that's big. I think I would discount that one just because that's like the top of the range. But I would say it's a relatively significant change there. Not enough to convince me that a large meta order is out in the market, but a sign that that could be at play. So I think that that's a little bit more in the cards. I don't think we're done here yet. We do have, put these up here. We do have S&P services PMIs. Those aren't as significant, but like they're by themselves. I should note there was also New York Fed manufacturing we kind of ignored. New York Fed manufacturing week again. We also have a 3 and 6 month bill auction. So we actually have quite a bit going on for a Monday. They still haven't gotten over that iceberg at 03. What about the S&P? S&P looks pretty firmly on the uptrend. It looks a little stuck. Another 3,000 having traded at 03. Thanks. Good morning, Seth. Why 6JZ's liquidity was too low today? Because we rolled over. The rollover. I don't. Was it today? I don't think the rollover was today, but you should be on March now. So I think that's M. What codes are those? Oh, sorry, not. It's H. Should be on H. New Jersey receives report that radioactive medical device lost in transit is the top story on Zero Hedge this morning, huh? Okay. They were able to tick through 03. Not anything too crazy going on the bid following it, but the bid at 02.5 is still relatively large. In fact, it looks like somebody stacked a 1500 on there. Now, Activia says it was a 2K. When that was stacked, let's pop back over here to our market depth tape. Yeah, you can see it there at 03. Kind of adding and pulling. Does look like someone's working it. So, my general way of working with a order like this is that the earlier in the session it is, the more likely that it's real. Like when it's late in the session, that's often a trick. But I think at the moment we're getting a lot of signs that there is somebody we're trying to work a large meta order on the buy side. I'm a little concerned, like I feel like that we should be getting to a liquidity hole here really quickly, so I'm not sure if I would want to take it at 03. You could probably get an okay fill at 03 though with the iceberg and everything. Like it would be a relatively optimal place to get filled on the bid if I wanted to get long. So I assume that the reason Zero Hedge is interested in this New Jersey receives report radioactive medical device lost in transit, because people think that these drones that they're seeing around in New Jersey are actually looking for nuclear material. On December 2nd, the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission disclosed that a medical device containing radioactive material was lost in transit in New Jersey. This was reported on December 13th. I don't know. If there was a medical device was stolen and they were looking for it, I would think that, well, I would think that you would tell the public, but maybe if you tell the public, you would be concerned that the people that have it would get scared and it would be harder to find them. I don't know if that theory completely makes sense. It ticked back down at 03. I mean, if that was like a spoof, because we ticked down there, that would be a little unusual. I think that the market would be a little bit upset about that. There's a down tick at 02 half as well. Well, I was starting to feel like that more uptrend really was coming, and I was just concerned like that there wasn't much reward in it. But now it's coming back, so I'm a little bit surprised on it coming back 2 ticks. Although 2 ticks is well within the range of randomness, right? If the meta orders still out there, OT half would be a great pickup. Yeah, I don't know if I buy this this theory, zero hedges pushing. You know what's really driving me crazy? So here's my conspiracy theory. You ready for Seth to drive into conspiracy theory territory? Here's my conspiracy theory. China is intentionally pushing conspiracy theory content on TikTok. That's my theory. They're using TikTok. They're intentionally boosting conspiracy theory content so that everybody sees it. Because I have like zero interest in things like what is this, like there's this theory that it's like the earth is, that there's like a continent beyond the there's a continent beyond the South Pole or something like that, right? You've ever seen those? It shows me this on TikTok. I always immediately scroll away from it. It continues to show it to me. And now with this whole thing in New Jersey, I am just seeing like insane mass hysteria. Like I'm seeing a lot of posts that I'm like, that person has to know that they are spreading hysteria. Like they have to know that what they're showing there is not what they're presenting it as, and are just doing it to get views. Like, why are people perpetuating hoax? It really seems like there's people that are intentionally trying to hoax the internet. And I see this content like constantly on TikTok, even though I try and split past it as quickly as possible. What's with that? So that's why my theory is China is boosting it. I don't know. I feel like that the New Jersey thing would be something that like we could maybe make money off of if we knew what was going on. But no, I don't see that opportunity. Okay, well, there was a slight brief opportunity there to get filled at 02. Vincent Co, that's a new name. Welcome. While I'm at it, another thing that I'm seeing that really drives me crazy is that there will be this story like Trump's cabinet discussed X thing. Like the one that was released, I think it was on Friday, was like that the cabinet discussed consolidating like all of these 3 major financial regulatory organizations. And I'm like, well, they might have discussed it, but that doesn't mean that there's any chance of it happening because those were established by congressional laws, right? Like what a cabinet discusses as like their dreams isn't necessarily breaking market news. So what I think about those. So we're just feel like that we've all of the sudden entered into this twilight zone of excessively high amounts of fake news flown around. Just kind of all of a sudden. Okay, so level 2, sorry, market depth relatively even between bid and offer at the moment. Down tick. Didn't hold, but down tick. A down tick and that one held. Normally I'd be looking for, is there a little bit of pulling at 0.5 now? But, the last down tick was 1500. It was 1500, tick back up, then 500. We got 1500 at 0.5. So, like, there's more than enough in there for it to... I should note that we are seeing pretty heavy correlation with the Japanese yen again. I'm not necessarily seeing excessive selling in terms of delta, but it's about equal to what the buy was. So I'm not sure if that push up top was actually a spoof or not. It sure looks like it in retrospect within the context, but it may have fallen back down because of the Japanese yen. Now I'm a little bit concerned if they go through on the downside, if it goes all the way to 31.5. I'm often too particular with my prices. I'm sitting here like, well, if I got 02, I don't think it really matters, but... Tried doing a bunch of back testing, like, does it matter where you get in within the range? And back testing that I've done so far says, no, it doesn't really matter. I don't know, Octavius. I think the... Oh, you scratched it. You already scratched it. Never mind. I feel like that the market was had, but I'm still not 100% sure if that's what happened. Like, I'm sitting here thinking, like, hey, so if that was the market being had, should we be getting short here? Should I be getting short here? Probably I should be, and I'm not going to, and then it's gonna like turn into this absolute bender of a downtrend, and I'll be like, oh man, I should have gotten into it. I don't know. The deltas still have me a little bit wary here, to be honest with you. Also, the spreads have me a little bit worried too, because the spread is still a steepener. Thinking about our algo over here, I'm like, oh, I wanted to take a trade, but I don't think that it's unusual that it hasn't done anything yet. But one of the things I'm wondering about is like, so we backtested, but I didn't like limit the time frame that we backtested it, so that could be an interesting exercise to do. I'm just gonna let it do its thing now. See if it takes any trades. I guess I'm just, with the point at which the algorithm is at right now, I really don't expect it to do well. Maybe these are my own doubts from past experiences coming back and haunting me, you know? I think long in equities. So one of the things though, so I think you're right, generally speaking, Amir, but like the thing that I've been seeing lately is like, normally when you have it move down and then the next day they retrace it, right? But you get things like this thing right here. Like, I'm a little bit worried about that happening again, which would mean you get just a little bit of a boost and then, you know, or could just, you know, squiggle all around in that area. Rom, that's a interest. How do you say that name? Well, welcome to the stream. I guess the other thing is I'm not necessarily seeing anything that says to me that like the S&P 500 should trend today, right? So I would expect that my algorithm would try to go long, but it's not getting a signal like that. Hasn't moved enough to get... From r/trading, what are your thoughts on this book, Day Trading Momentum Level 2 and Reading the Tape by Robert C. Bonas? Well, I feel like that if you're talking about day trading and you're using the term momentum, that you probably don't really know what you're talking about. So probably I'm a bit skeptical that you'd get anything from that book. But let's see the comments. Nope, not really any interesting comments there. Some iceberging at 02. Like there was iceberging up here on the offer, and now you're getting iceberging at 02 on the offer. That's a little bit concerning, I think. Okay, so you know what's, I'm just browsing through Reddit and it's showing me some of these things about quote unquote orbs. Oh, you're going long again. Okay, that's interesting. So, like, the whole orb thing really, really irks me because if you take a camera and you point it at a light, whether it's a star or an airplane or whatever it is, and you make it go out of focus, okay, then you're going to get this quote unquote orb. And one of the things that can happen is like atmospheric fluctuations in the air that are closer in the field of vision can like appear in front of that you know, lens flare, I guess you could call it, and kind of make it look like there's little lines going through it. So I'm seeing all these people posting these pictures of it thinking that they are plasmoids or angels or something like that, right? And I'm seeing that pushed all over the place when based on this picture. And the funny thing is that they keep like changing they keep like enhancing it with AI and all of these sorts of things until it looks completely different from what it did originally. Because originally it was very clearly just a lens flare. Okay, meanwhile, you know, in Utah, there's been many times in Utah where people saw like glowing lights floating around that, you know, they couldn't explain. And you know, orange lights. And every time that I've seen that story, they turned out to be lanterns, basically. So like every time I see these things, it's like, oh, there's like a glowing lantern out there, and then there's some sort of a drone near it. That's kind of weird. Now the weird one is there's one where was it the I can't remember which one it was, but like they get close to each other and then one of them drops. So it was like, what? If the orb dropped, then that would be like, yeah, it's a lantern. I don't think Treasury will be down because the yield is falling. I mean, they go opposite each other. I don't understand what you mean by that. I don't know. At the moment, well, so all of these shifts have been correlated with moves in the Japanese yen. So like when I look at what we've seen in the level 2, it kind of seems like there's something going on. But everything else that I see when looked at in isolation, I would think this is just a market maker's market messing around with everybody. Now, when you come back and you look at the level 2, let's zoom in here a little bit, right? We had a little bit of a rise there. We fell back down. Now we're getting another kind of a little bit of a rise. And that's almost to new highs in cumulative delta, but it's not getting back up there. So, interestingly, what you're seeing is that they made so much profit on this that the seller break-even point has risen and kind of met where we're at. Because, you know, it's unusual for the treasuries to write it up on the higher end of this all day. We usually stick between these two lines, right? Anyways, just kind of interesting how that all sorted out. Of course, we are getting back down. It does look like a liquidity hole of sorts is formed at O2 as well. Okay, well, so now that click that you're hearing was another relatively large bid getting stuck at 1.5. Oh, maybe not. It was a bid at 01. I think that it kind of moved between those two, but there is still something kind of going on the inside there. On the tape, the one at 0.5 Well, I see that being placed like 10 minutes ago. That wasn't what the clicking that we just heard. So. Biden overtime rule was struck down. Mark Andreessen says he doesn't want to see anyone's whole self at work. Act like a professional and a grown-up for fortune. Kind of interesting to me that all of a sudden Reddit and media and everything are paying more attention to Mark Andreessen. There's after the election, the left immediately went into, the billionaires have completely taken over the government and are going to change all of the rules to benefit themselves. As though the billionaires didn't all just vote for Kamala Harris. So every time I see that headlines like that, I can't help but laugh about it. Go to You know what Reddit's the most obsessed with right now, though, is Luigi. That one also makes me laugh every time I see it, because that's like, okay, like, you realize that part of the reason why people are so upset about the medical system is because Obamacare sucks, right? You put on this whole show about making your law and you know, owning what Obamacare. He was like, you know, I love that they call it Obamacare. I'm going to, you know, go head on into that. And now, like what, a decade later, Obamacare not going very well. And then they say, well, yeah, because the medical system was screwed up before that. And I was like, well, yeah, but you tried to fix it and it just made things worse. So why should we allow you to try and fix it again? The left is all like getting excited because they think this means that they will have a chance to implement universal health care. But I think that that's like the least likely scenario right now. So every time I see people posting about this on Reddit and pushing that kind of narrative, I also kind of laugh. 01 half doing a little bit there now. I don't know, man. This is really feeling like market maker games. I mean, the shift in cumulative delta that we're seeing here is about 7,000 net contracts. It's up, down, twice now. That's not a good setup in my book. This kind of zigzagging back and forth in the treasuries is not normal. They're back there at those lows, though. I think there's still some reason to be concerned about a plunge to 31.5, right? Oh, I missed Octavia saying that he scratched that. I don't know. I'm gonna just sit on my hands. I don't know what's going on. And 7,000 contracts buys, 7,000 sells. Then they 7,000 buys, 7,000. I'm supposed to know what that means? Take a trade off? No, I don't. Games for all I know. I don't know. Like that amount, I kind of feel like unlikely to be games. Okay, new theory. Here's a new theory that just crossed my mind. What if there are two large meta orders, one buying and one selling, and they're just taking turns? Because it's unusual. Okay, so like if this is price and this is come delta, we need to come up with a better name for cumulative delta that is quicker to say. Cumulative delta, that's too many syllables. I want something that's like one or two syllables, okay? Delta could be something, but you can't say just delta. Okay, anyways. If price is going like this, usually cumulative delta is just kind of flat. Sometimes you might see cumulative delta kind of like rising through that, and then we're kind of like, is somebody accumulating in here and it's going to jump out? Okay. To see cumulative delta zigzagging back and forth within a tight range like that, it's a little weird. So, my theory is there is a large meta order. It's just that there's one on each side. r/gaming, why did Marvel Rivals become so successful despite... Is Marvel Rivals really actually doing that well? Wait, come on, let's I'll come and check Twitch. Well, yeah, it actually it is. There's more people playing Marvel Rivals than there are playing Valorant. Like some sort. Oh no, oh, that's interesting. Kind of looks like Overwatch, but primarily third person. That's interesting. Not the direction I was hoping that the shooter market would go, though. Getting a little bit of clicking now at 111 even. Actually, I would say a lot of clicking at 111 even. So interesting thing that I've kind of been looking at recently is, we were looking at, okay, we really want to build our own platform. So maybe I should look at, can you get funding for that, and so on and so forth. Well, first of all, I have learned that $2 million worth of funding is pretty significant. Like if it was $100,000, like no big deal, but $1 million, $2 million is a little bit harder to come by. And I'm not so sure that I would be able to get like an angel investor or somebody like that to invest that much into starting up and building our own, especially not for that particular idea in a market that's already pre-saturated, even if we're really confident that we can make the best platform. But I started looking at a lot of like startup kind of content because of that. Like YouTube just started showing me that stuff, and so I'm like, okay, sure, let's watch Y Combinator videos, right? And now it's starting to show me like anti-Y Combinator videos. So like there's a lot of people that are saying like, well, yeah, but Y Combinator, like they want to create billion-dollar businesses, like they want to create like a new company like Airbnb, for instance. And for most small businesses that just would be happy to get up off the ground, that's not necessarily the appropriate move for them. So now I'm all in the world of these arguments in the startup world. That's kind of interesting to me. I still think we bootstrap this ourselves. Well, we got, an interesting market, so I haven't done any of it today, but I think that we'll start looking at Rust stuff, perhaps looking at Rust stuff in our session even. And we will increase the cost of the NinjaTrader indicator package. You can check out the indicator package at speculatorseth.com. You can go and you can download the 2-week trial. So you just install the indicator package. It'll work for 2 weeks, and after that, you need a license, $100 lifetime license right now. Next year will be more than that. So go and get it now. Well, it's still cheap. Octavius noting that we had a 5-tick initial balance. Yeah, 7,000 contracts is a little bit on, 10,000 is usually my first kind of like, okay, like that's a decent size move. But incredibly narrow range, even for that amount of back and forth. Get on Shark Tank and raise some capital. You know what? I don't think that it would be very good on Shark. I saw a thing the other day that saying that, I forget what his name is. Is it Kevin O'Leary? That he is net negative on all of his Shark Tank investments. So I really think that if we're gonna do this, that we should be able to bootstrap it. Basically, I mean, because there are businesses out there that are like NinjaTrader indicator businesses, right? Like there's 3 or 4 that I can think of that they're just straight up selling indicators. They're selling them for a lot more than I'm selling them for. And I think that, especially with the caching and everything, that my indicators have gotten to the point where they are better than these other things that I'm seeing out there. So, like, how are they running a business off of it? Is it an illusion? That's a possibility. That they don't actually sell as many of the indicators as it might seem from how much of a company they've actually got. But I'm thinking that the more likely thing is that they put a lot of money into marketing, and I put like 0 money into marketing, right? So I think that if we start to invest in growing that now, that we should be able to get it to a point where it's bringing in enough consistent income that we can fund that development, is what I think. So we just gotta do our part, and you guys are gonna help me, because I'm gonna make an affiliate program, and you'll get like a huge reward when you successfully sell the indicator. or the indicator package. I'm also thinking, so here's something for you guys to think about. So I'm also thinking, for the indicator package, it's okay for it to be the speculator Seth indicator suite, right? But especially if we're going to go to a platform, I think that we have to have a brand that is outside of me now. I think we have to have a larger brand. And so my new question is, what should the larger brand be? We've always kind of approached this idea, because another time that I thought about this kind of branding thing was like, what if we started another YouTube channel that was primarily focused on live breaking financial news and commentary, and it was multiple creators, like a news network to compete with CNBC or something like that, right? Maybe I still do something like that and they can use this similar brand. But anyway, so think about what if we were going to make a trading platform that had built-in saving of market depth data, better management of your data, and then a whole slew of other things. What should we call it? What should we call it? There is. Oh, by the way, I remember I was concerned about it touching 31.5, and I think, oh well, it's not a huge deal that they touched 31.5. So should I really take like a victory lap over that? Because it was only like 2 or 3 ticks down, right? But there's been a little bit of a liquidity hole there now as well. So that does really look to me like market maker rebalancing. So now that I look at this now, I'm kind of wondering this. When we come in and we look at all this, could we argue that this was like the market maker found himself extremely off sides at the beginning of the session? And since not a lot was happening, they played a few tricks to try and get it to rebalance for them. So I think that I'm gonna keep a closer eye on that next time that we seem to be way above the stop out zone on a day when I'm not necessarily expecting it to move a whole lot. That might be a pattern that we can find some opportunities from in the future. I'm really interested right now. I'm spending more and more time. I'm trying to research more and more the behavior of mean reversion. Like, I think that we have a pretty good feel for the trends. When the trends come, jumping on the trends and stuff like that. And then it's always been, well, when the market maker's in charge and it's not going anywhere, we just don't want to be involved. But I feel like that I need to do better than that. That I need to at least be able to get through those periods at breaking even. Are you scalping or just narrating the sessions? Well, we will take trades if we see them. But I did not take trades today. I'm not anticipating taking any trades today. And any trades that I do take for the near foreseeable future, because I'm between day jobs. So until I get another day job, I'm anticipating that all of the trades that we take will just be sim ones. But yeah, it's Monday. We got a Federal Reserve meeting on Wednesday. I'm not necessarily looking for trades. I do kind of feel like that we could have taken a trade on that sell. If I see a situation like that in the future, I would think I will try and take it. Christian says, it's a tough market been losing lately? Well, probably just random, right? Anytime that you're feeling bad about your trading, just remember that that's probably just random, right? Like the market. Our mind's expectation of what success should look like in trading is not realistic. So wouldn't get down on yourself too much. On the other hand, you're not the first person I've seen say that. So you're not the first person I've seen say that. There's been quite a few people on Reddit in particular that seem to be struggling in this market, despite the S&P 500 just continuing to push up, right? Is there an indicator that would measure a standard deviation to a specific price, such as the RTH opening price? So you mean something that would be like a trigger that is going to go back to the open or something of that nature? I haven't been able to find. So let me show you. Here's what I was looking at with this one. You might have missed what I was saying because there's an indicator on here that's really complicated and I didn't explain. So these lines here, these blue and orange lines that are drawn on the chart, are essentially a model where I look at where limit orders were filled and kind of model, okay, what if all of those limit orders were all being filled by the same market maker? Where would that market maker's average price be? So it's essentially, it's a model trying to guesstimate what the market maker's position is. It's kind of funny. I've always spent all this time bashing on like smart money concepts because their whole thing is like there's this algorithm that controls the money. So it's absolute nonsense. And you know, this idea that like you can predict that the market maker is going to go and stop everybody out and all of this sort of thing is nonsense, right? But we do have some evidence that like, can you kind of sniff out what the market maker's position is? It seems to me that kind of, yeah, you can. The problem is just that the market maker is not the one that's in charge. If somebody is coming in and they're buying a large block of something, those buyers and sellers are in charge. And the market maker is just trying to manage his bids and offers in a way that he can still make money despite these guys moving the market, you know, making the market trend up. Okay. But today, I think that we're in a situation, you look at this whole mess right here, you know, that's kind of like maybe the market maker is in charge. So if the market maker is in charge, then what I should expect to see is I should expect them to come back to these two lines. These two lines, this is the market maker's average position for the buyer and seller. And this line right here is the point at which like there's no way that the buyer or the seller could be in profit. So it's hard for them to stay above this line like all session. Okay. But what will often happen is they will come up to this line and then, you know, nothing's happening. Market maker will let it fall back down and rebalance. And so I think that may have been what kind of happened here. This stuff may have been some buyers and sellers, but it may have also been a little bit of market maker shenanigans and everything to try and rebalance back to here. I have not been able to find something where I can like algorithmically predict when this move is going to happen, but the amount of times that it will come to those lines and bounce off of those lines literally to the tick is absolutely insane. Keep in mind that bar, that this right here is the minimum tick size. So it was a to the tick bounce. It went to the spot, it filled it, it bounced. And it does that almost every day. I can't find a way to systematically backtest it to prove it. But it sure shows us some stuff that, you know, it's something that's beyond my skill to program, but we can definitely see. This is kind of the interesting thing about trading, is that it seems to me that your ability to find an imbalance and trade it usually outpaces your ability to like systematize it and program it and, you know, create empirical evidence proving the inefficiency in the market. So you noticed any standard deviation from those lines where it tends to revert back to them? So, like if you're saying like, can I take that line plus a standard deviation sort of a thing? No. but we do find that it will bounce off of those lines like hard, just like they bounce off of VWAP lines hard. But, you know, like going back to VWAP, for instance, if you go and you backtest, okay, if we've been away from the VWAP for a certain amount of time and then it comes back, and like, does it bounce? And it turns out most of the time that it does bounce. It's just that when it doesn't bounce, it moves so much further, and so it's not a good risk-adjusted trade. So then we've done a lot of things like, okay, when we have a trend up or a trend down, how far are we from the on an average true range basis from that VWAP? And my observation on that one is that, and from backtesting this as well, there's maybe a little bit of evidence to suggest that you could do that, but didn't result in a profitable trade either. But I've also been doing some backtesting, like, okay, I'm going to take a random trade. How big of a winner and loser should I actually take? And you just kind of like optimize it, you know, to try all of the different possibilities and see what comes out. And then you compare those set stops and targets to like a dynamic stop and target, like using the ATR to try and determine that instead, right? And what I found was that if I use like an ATR on a 1 minute bars, that didn't work very well either. But if I use like an ATR, like the daily ATR, that was better. So like VWAP bands, we should do this. We should make one of these. For VWAP bands, I would use a VWAP bands based on the daily data series range. Now, the issue with doing that, and we actually created something to do that, for how big should we look for fair value gaps. Not that I believe in fair value gaps, but we wanted to show them and backtest it. If you do like the minimum gap possible, then you get way too many gaps. So we're using daily ATR to kind of filter them out. The issue with that is that you have to have a daily chart that includes enough data, right? So like, you're going to have a 1 minute chart, but you probably want to have like 30 days of data in that 1 minute chart. So that's the downside. That's the downside of it. I could maybe look at that. Maybe there's a way to, on the daily chart, add more data going further back than on the 1 minute chart. Is that possible? I don't think it is. Let me see. Developer.ninjatrader.com/docs/desktop. Add data series. Oh, actually, maybe there is. Bars period, int bars to load. Oh my gosh, that's annoying. Should your script be the host for other scripts that are creating indicators and series-dependent resources in state.data loaded? Please make sure that the host is doing the same add data series calls. Oh. Yep. Arguments supplied to add data series should be hard-coded and not dependent on runtime variables which cannot be reliably obtained during state.configure. There's actually ways around that, but because some of my indicators do dynamically pick those. You just have to make sure that it's never going to give you a null object. An int determining the number of historical bars to load. Okay, so maybe I can do that. So you don't have to add several days worth of stuff to be able to get a value. I guess I could program it right now. You want me to program it right now? Especially if I put it in my indicator suite and you buy the indicator suite, then I would definitely do it. Oh, but you might not even have, who was it that I was talking to? Tilt. Tilt might not even have NinjaTrader, though. Still kind of feel like building it, though. Put this in alpha. We use Sierra charts. I gotta get, people keep asking me to make them for Sierra charts, and I've always kind of been like, well, we'll see, maybe. But the funny thing is, okay, the marketplace is really fractured. Like, I thought, okay, maybe the audience is really using Sierra charts, and so I would have more success if I was using Sierra charts. But the truth is that there's just as many people using NinjaTrader as there is Sierra charts, essentially. Having it on both platforms would certainly be a boost, though. Is that written? No. I am using Jigsaw Day Trader. So if you go to jigsawtrading.com, that's what I use. I am an affiliate for them. So if you look in the video description, I have an affiliate link. And if you end up buying Jigsaw with the affiliate link, I get a commission in disclosure. But I think that the best DOM is the Jigsaw DOM. And the pricing for that is basically, it's like $500 up front. And then to place live trades, there's a $50 per month license after that. So it's actually like the monthly cost is not that different from Sierra Charts. It's just that Sierra Charts doesn't have the upfront license either. So, but you get a really, really solid DOM. Like in terms of execution, I really think that Jigsaw is the best platform to execute on. And what I do is I have Rhythmic data. So I bring the data in from Rhythmic Trader Pro. And then NinjaTrader and Jigsaw get the data from there. I may have to change that soon because I cannot do that with the latest version of NinjaTrader. So maybe what I will do is I will buy the kinetic feed. I can get the kinetic feed for free. I still have to pay the exchange fees, so it's still like $30 to $50 a month or something like that. But I could just connect NinjaTrader with kinetic, do it that way. Oh yes, okay, so I was gonna make the VWAP bands. Is this VWAP bands indicator over here? Oh, it is on bar close. I don't think that we want that. I think we want it on each tick. On each tick. I need a good volume profile indicator for NinjaTrader. The default volume profile. What is lacking in the default volume profile indicator? Oh man, I'm really interested to hear your answer to this one, because I can't imagine what you could possibly do to a volume profile other than like change the way that it looks. Oh, okay. You're probably doing something wrong, Cameron. So he says it calculates on tick, but it doesn't calculate historically unless I'm doing something wrong. For example, when I turn it on, it's blank until a tick occurs. So first of all, for the NinjaTrader volume profile, I think that it should work historically. So that is a little weird and may have something to do with the data provider that you're using. But do you have tick replay turned on? Do you come into data set? Oh, I forgot. This is the PMIs. Okay, so that got hit down pretty hard there. Looks like it's higher than forecast. Flash PMI 58.6 versus an expected 55.8. Yeah, that's pretty decently above expectations. Manufacturing a little weak, 48.3 versus 49.5, and that puts the composite at 56.6 versus the expected 55.1. So not crazy, but definitely a deserved little sweep down. Okay, you do not have tick replay turned on, so let me show you how you do this. You bring over the control center, you go Tools, Options, and then within the options, Market Data, and then there should be a checkbox here under Historical that says Show Tick Replay. When you have the Show Tick Replay box enabled, it will create this box, right? Without that setting, you won't see this box. But with that setting turned on, you will see this box as Tick Replay, and then you can turn on Tick Replay on that chart. And then it should construct those things historically. I trade my own account. So you go back and my not my latest video, but my video before that, I basically explain why I don't like prop firms. Trade my own account. But I do want to note, I still have a day job, but I'm between jobs right now. And so until I find a new day job, I'm probably not going to be trading my own account. Gotta, just, it really reduces your ability to take on risk, right? So we just take sim trades. Do I think that they will continue to push down? Not sure about that. Let's just note, though, that at 26 right here was weekly low from last week, okay? I'm looking through this indicator here, my old code, and I don't understand how my old code worked. How is it getting that? Oh, that's interesting. I did it. I was doing it, the deviation based on the deviation of the whole session. Camran says, thank you for the tick read. That's what I'm here for. Oh, wait. Maybe it's because I have... maybe it's because I don't have it pulled up here. There we go. Yes, that makes sense. Still going. It's actually, that's falling pretty hard on not a lot of volume. It still looks kind of like a little limited, like that the traders are just not that interested in trading it today. I don't know if that piece of news was that significant, but like it could certainly take us to that 26. There's so many little things that I have to consider here with this VWAP bands indicator that the old one doesn't. And it's just kind of slow going here. Sorry. Yeah, I was looking at 26 Octavius because that was like the low. Well, it looks like you might be getting a little bit of the ocean receding here a little bit. Now, why does it want X? Right, so we don't need that part. Change the setting to minute in NinjaTrader volume profile. Oh, is that what it is? Is maybe you have it on a weird chart and that's why it's not loading the historical volume profile information? That would totally make sense to me. Well, not the tick data. Like, there's this whole thing that like you can use their volume profile and some of these other indicators without having tick replay turned on. But I don't know how it works because I can't see that code. Oh, I take that back. I think I looked at another indicator that kind of showed me how it was, how that worked. Oh, I can't believe that built. Okay. No, I think you're talking about something different, Lewis, from what I'm talking about. There's a way. So some data providers, like volume profile is like so common that some data providers just like have that data there. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking about something else. Because you don't need tick replay. You shouldn't need tick replay for it to work, right? That's the thing. So like this VWAP bands right here, I don't have tick replay turned on, right? Because it's just the volume at price information. And the on-market data events still get called. It's just that you won't get the historical bid ask to do the other stuff on it, right? But I still think what you're saying, like, maybe it's because you need to do it on a 1 minute chart. Maybe would make sense to me why that would make a difference. There we go. Kind of, there we go. Now, if I do that one and I turn on tick replay, does that change that? Yep, it does. Okay, maybe the on-market data doesn't get called without tick replay. Yeah. There was always been this thing where, like, for my indicators, if I want these sorts of things to work, you have to have tick replay turned on. But there are some NinjaTrader indicators that are doing the same thing, but you don't have to turn tick replay on for them. And I thought the volume profile was one of them. But it may depend on who your data provider is. Because I think that, like, they're using some method to pull the volume profile data directly, and some data providers support it and some don't. This bit right here. Oh, really think that the correct way to do this is to just only do it by session, but whatever. I feel like I'm lacking a little bit in the motivation department today because I'm not like super into this for some reason. Okay. What's your thought on Moon Boys calling for 1 million Bitcoin? Well, okay, so I think that the whole US Bitcoin reserve thing is being way blown out of proportion. Donald Trump has not given any real specifics on this. And I think the idea that the US government is going to be going out and regularly making Bitcoin purchases to just be absolutely ridiculous. I'm not sure that they can do that. I don't think that they would do that. What is likely to happen is simply that anytime the US government seizes Bitcoin, instead of selling it, they just keep it. And that's what that's really all about. So the crypto fanboys are like way misrepresenting this to try and pump it. Yeah, that's what I thought, says Lewis. Yeah, the whole thing is crazy. So like there was this headline overnight that some company associated with Trump bought some was it some coin, and that there was like they were buying an exchange and all of these sorts of things, and those are like pumping super hard, and like the details around these are always a little fuzzy and suspect. I seems to me like there's a lot of like pump and dumping going around. And as you know, the thing that I think is really critical to note about Bitcoin is that MSTR has been buying up large blocks of Bitcoin, and for the past, I want to say 2 years, frankly, for the past 2 years, all of the rises in Bitcoin have coincided with purchases by MSTR. So it seems to me that the general public is no longer meaningfully investing in Bitcoin, and that they are really relying on large institutions coming in and buying up large blocks of Bitcoin to continue the rise over there. And that is not a sustainable thing. I really don't think that that is a sustainable thing. So, yeah. at some point, you know, it'll be like, oh, actually, they're not gonna just, you know, the U.S. government's not gonna buy Bitcoin. They're just not going to sell the Bitcoin that they have, you know. And then when reality hits, okay, what was I doing here? I was looking for the one where I can. Bars period trading hour name. No. Name, bars period, bars to load. There we go. Something like that. You can't see what I'm talking about. Don't worry about it. I don't know. I'm worried that I'm going to end up talking a lot more about cryptocurrencies in the near future, and I've really have been avoiding talking about it. Calculated 6 to 10% probability hit 150K. Well, I feel pretty confident that Bitcoin will reach higher than 105,000 in 2025. But how far it's going to go, I don't know. And I'm really concerned about when this one falls apart, when it does. I'm kind of concerned that this particular run could be really persistent. Like, if you have the administration, they're not necessarily buying the Bitcoin, but like they are pumping it, you know, this bull market in Bitcoin could go on for a long time then. And the problem is that that's just going to give that market that much more of a hangover when it finally ends. Who knows? Maybe some other country, you know, I could totally see like the Trump administration and their SEC and everything being really friendly to cryptocurrencies. And then the EU coming out and being like, well, we're going to investigate Tether then. And, you know, the EU comes out with that Tether is fraudulent and, you know, causes the whole thing to collapse in on you. I'm just concerned that this will blow up in the Trump administration's face. Maybe it will last through their whole term and it'll be the next president that deals with it, but I think that there is a certain probability that it will blow up during Trump's term and make them look really bad. Yes. I wonder what we would want to set these two, though. Let's just start with the volatility percent of 0.25. So a quarter of the day's range. I refresh. Do I get errors? No, that looks good. Is that your email? Oh, that sound that you just, that little doo-doo was compilation finishing. The NinjaTrader compiler finishing. Think. Fingers crossed. Sounds like my email. But nobody loves me. Oh, that's funny. You know what? I never get nobody ever uses email to like actually talk to you, you know? That's the crazy thing about email. It's all junk and notifications and stuff. It's really crazy to me how that's all turned out. Oh, actually, it's not even that. It's better. Getting there. Well, by the way, you're just talking about that indicator that we were talking about earlier that tries to sort out what the market maker's positioning is. Look at that. Well, they moved down to, what did they get to? 27.5? And then almost immediately right back to this zone here where they rebalanced. I think it really is doing a good job of estimating the market maker positioning. Okay. I'll be really surprised if this works well, but okay. But that's not right. That still does not make sense. That makes even less sense. G says, I took a long at 29, which means you should be going short. Feel like you're a little late, like some of the better moves have already happened. That's not right. Hold on. Oh, that's a very, very interesting. So what's happening is my daily ATR is coming back to me with like a value of 1 or 2 every time, which makes absolutely 0 sense. It should be giving me something more like 34. Well, maybe it shouldn't be doing it in ticks. Shouldn't be doing it like that. Yeah. Come on, come on, come on. Nope. Is basically it's coming out and saying, oh, the daily ATR is like 10. Oh, wait. That was different. Oh, wait. Should be like all of these. That's kind of weird that it changed that time without me changing anything. What's with that? These are all wrong. That might fix it, actually. Oh, yep. That did fix it, but it also broke it. Because all of a sudden it's saying the VWAP is all the way up there. What's with that? Oh, it must not be resetting at the end of every session. Okay, so let's see. I've dealt with this part before. The central bank comment coming through there. Why that reset value? See, it should be changing like right there. It's not. Oh, I think that part's. Okay, it's not getting calls. This same session iterator bug that I've encountered in some other scripts. It might be. I think that there was like NinjaTrader changed something about the session iterator or something. So a piece of code that I used in some older ones doesn't work anymore. Let me see if it's related to that. Previous. Current. Well, I really feel like Degenerate Gambler should have tried taking a trade by now, and it hasn't. So we'll try looking at that in a second, too. What's happening is definitely that it's not resetting at the end of the session anymore. So, like, something about adding the other data series has messed that up, I think. Yeah. Maybe it's because this needs to be done over here. The session iterator needs to be instantiated after data loaded. Yeah, that doesn't look right. It also does only starts doing the things up until this point, which is also a little bothersome. This one, I think, is unnecessary. Lewis says, I saw your video where you talked about intuition. That's how I trade, although I'm not following a system. It's just something I've developed over time. You're right. There are things that can happen. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was my whole frustration is that the whole retail trading world, they've built their entire trading off of these ideas that are just not empirically sound. And then when we find stuff that proves that, you know, those ideas are wrong, what are you left with? And there's like no way to convince them because they can't imagine a world that's anything else. Okay, so that worked. I get rid of that. Okay, I have an idea. Ta-da. Okay, so what was happening is it was saying that there wasn't enough bars, and so it was skipping that. Now, why it doesn't do it until there is an interesting question. So now I should get the thing where it does draw them correctly. Yeah. It does draw them correctly, but it only does it for the last few bars. And what's with that, right? It's like that underlying data series doesn't draw until just here now. Now, if I come back and I go to the data series and I tell it, like, load 30 days worth of data. Does that change it? No, that does not change it. Oh, you know why? Duh. Okay, made a big mistake here. I was not putting it on a daily. I was not actually adding a daily chart. Um, how do you instantiate your own bars period? Oh, here it has an example. Bars period, new bars period type. Equals. When talking about participants trading spreads on ES or other futures, are we talking about futures options spread or arbing the current ES contract and the one in front? Well, so there you can be a lot of different ways that they do it, but yes, one of the things that people will do is they will trade a spread between ES and like the actual underlying index. Because there is a difference between them, right? So you can technically trade a basis. I wonder if you were going to trade a basis on it, you would use SPY. Anyways, but you know, there's a ton of different spreads and arbitrage opportunities in equity indexes. It's a really complicated thing. That was wrong. It's close. It was a little bit of too much of a rush. There we go. There we go. So now we get back to this issue that, like, it seems to... Oh boy. Hold on a second. Asher woke up and instead of coming in getting me, hi. Oh, you don't want to come in? You can come in as long as you're dressed, but you're dressed, yeah. There you go. Instead of coming in and finding me, he just decided to go and run amok in the kitchen. This is up. Guess we're picking a child up, guys. Well, it was close to the end anyways. There's still an issue wherein it's like it's not loading the data all the way. So I'm not exactly sure how to sort that out. You need to work on your poker face. Was my face like, oh, I really don't like this? Okay, this is wrong right here. 30 days. That fixed site. So there was a problem in my loading data. It doesn't like that either. Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. All right, well, whatever. Doesn't work. We'll figure it out later. Gotta go. I'll see you guys